It's there like it happened yesterday.
It began like any other day.
I was fixing lunch for the boys. They were going to come home from school to eat lunch.
And we were coming home, racing home.
I looked out the front door and I saw a gray car. There were two uniformed officers, military officers, and my parish priest.
I distinctly remember my brother and I looking at each other because there was a strange car sitting in front of our house.
It was so awful because Steve and Jim were on their way home for lunch. And I knew they were on their way home for lunch. They were riding their bikes. And I knew that this priest, they were going to the Catholic school. And I know this priest passed them on the way. And that was my concern. I said, how am I going to tell them?
As soon as we come storming in the door, my mom stood up and walked over and gave us a hug and told us that she needed us to sit down because she had to tell us something about our father.
They just came in and bless their hearts, they knew.
I realized in the late 80s that at some point in the near future, I was going to outlive my dad. I started making some phone calls wondering if I'd ever find anybody else besides my brothers and sisters who'd lost their dads in the war. So I started asking some questions, and I made a phone call to a guy in Sacramento, Mike Kelly, who then gave me a phone number of a woman in Washington, D.C. That woman was Wanda Ruffin. I called her and identified myself and asked her that question. Is there some organization that exists for sons and daughters who lost their dads in the war? And she said, if there was, I'd know about it, and I don't know of one. And besides that, I have a daughter whose father was killed in the war. And from there, a relationship grew with Wanda and with her daughter Wendy, and we started to communicate back and forth. And ultimately, Memorial Day weekend of 1990, an author by the name of Al Santoli published an article in Parade magazine that really became the catalyst for what Sons and Daughters in Touch has become. In response to that, some 1,500 sons and daughters from all across the United States wrote to Parade magazine and said, I lost my dad in the war. I want to be a part of this. Please tell me how I can do it. So Wanda was able to assemble those sons and daughters from the Washington, D.C. area, and they had identified a desire to have a Father's Day reunion gathering in June of 1992, and these people in Washington agreed to become the planners for that event. That was taking us through the end of 91 and into early 92, and we had to identify how we would structure this whole event. And what we wanted to do is to culminate this with a celebration on Father's Day at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, because we all had that one thing in common, regardless of branch of service or rank or where we lived throughout the United States or what year our fathers might have been lost in the war, the one thing that was the common bond for every one of us was the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Our dads' names were inscribed there from end to end. And so we wanted that to be the culmination of this weekend. And as we articulated these plans to the people on our mailing list, they became more and more excited. And more reservations came in. And so this weekend was filled with lots and lots of emotion. Not a whole lot of events to do and go to, but with an awful lot of emotion, because people were coming to Washington, D.C. for the first time to see their dad's name on the wall. B, they were meeting other sons and daughters who'd lost their dads. That was the first time that they had done that. C, they were talking about this experience for the first time. And then at the culmination of all of this, they had to say goodbye to each other. It was, because it was the first time, it was so emotional and created a lasting memory in everybody's mind. It really was the fire that ignited this whole thing. So at the end of that weekend, there was this emotional sentiment that everybody said, you have to do it again. You have to have another Father's Day. In fact, you should do it every year. And the people that were saying that lived 10 minutes away from the memorial. They didn't live 3,000 miles away. And so they didn't fully understand the complexities of planning it. But we listened to them and planned and held Father's Day again in '93, and had some new faces and some repeat faces, and tried to capture that. And we had tremendous support from those that really matter, the veteran service organizations, National League of Families, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund. They were all very supportive of us. But what we realized in having the second Father's Day celebration in 1993 was that we couldn't do it every year.
Let them in, Peter, for they are very tired. Give them couches where the angels sleep, and light those fires. Let them wake whole again to brand new dawns, fired by the sun, not wartime's bloody guns. And may their peace be deep. Remember where the broken bodies lie. God knows how young they were to have to die. Well, God knows how young they were to have to die. Give them things they like. Let them make some noise. Give dance hall bands, not golden harps, to these our boys. And let them love Peter, for they've had no time. They should have bird songs and trees and hills to climb, the taste of summer in a ripe and pear, and girls sweet as meadow wind with flowing hair. And tell them how they are missed, but say not to fear, it's gonna be alright with us down here. And let them in, Peter. Oh no, they are very tired. Give them couches where the angels sleep, and light those fires. Let them wake whole again to brand new dawns, and fired by the sun, not wartime's bloody guns. And may their peace be deep. Remember where the broken bodies lie. God knows how young they were to have to die. missed. But say not to feel, it's gonna be alright with us down here.
Father's Day 2000 was our 10th anniversary celebration. And just like the 3 prior Father's Day celebrations, it went by like a blur. The veterans, the sons and daughters, the grandchildren, the parents, other relatives, everybody that attended came away with, once again, this renewed sense that this organization has a purpose, and whether we get together every 3 years, every 5 years, whatever it is, that there is something valuable and educational that everybody comes away with. When you look at just the grandchildren experience that we put together in June of 2000 and realized that 8 years prior, there was never even a consideration given to providing some educational experience to the grandchildren, to those grandchildren whose fathers or grandfathers' names are listed on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. It tells you how far we've come, because these little kids have now had a chance to learn and be educated about the experience that took their grandfathers from them, and they can go back to their elementary schools or high schools, wherever they are, around the United States, and know that they have a personal connection to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. The involvement of veterans and their willingness to support the organization grows every year. So if we were to do Father's Day 2005 or whatever, I have no doubt in my mind that you would see many more veterans then than you did this year. And our members continue to get married, continue to have more children. And so as the family grows older and you have these reunions, the family just continues to grow. And that's what Father's Day 2000 was. And probably most importantly, it was a sign that this organization wasn't a flash in the pan. That it wasn't something that was here today and gone in a couple of months. This organization's been around for 10 years. It's healthier today than it's ever been before. It really was a significant statement for us to make that this organization is here and will remain.
I'm so tired of being here, suppressed by all my childish fears. And if you have to leave wounds won't seem to heal. This pain is just too real. There's just too much that time cannot erase. When you cried, I'd wipe away all of your tears. When you'd scream, I'd fight away all of your fears. And I held your hand through all of these years, but you still have all of me.
In the few days that we have been here in Vietnam, I have come to the conclusion that this stunningly beautiful country was worth fighting for. And the warm, friendly, and gracious Vietnamese people were worth dying for. After years of trying to push the grief away, I finally accepted that it will never be all right that I lost my daddy. And today, it is all right with me that it will never be all right.
These wounds won't seem to heal. This pain is just too real. There's just too much that time cannot erase. When you cried, I'd wipe away all of your tears. When you scream, I'd fight away all of your fears. And I held your hand through all of these years, but you still all of me. I'm so tired of being here, suppressed by all my childish fears. And if you have to leave, I wish that you would just leave. Your presence still lingers here, and it won't leave me alone. These wounds won't seem to heal. This pain is just too real. There's just too much that time cannot erase. When you cried, I'd wipe away all of your tears. When you'd scream, I'd fight away all of your fears. And I held your hand through all of these years, but you still
I'm sitting here trying to figure out what I wanted to say, and it's hard because I feel so fortunate, but I still, it's that not knowing anything, not knowing what his voice sounds like, not knowing how he walked, and all of that.
Three years ago, on Father's Day, Tony unexpectedly announced that we were going to take a trip to Vietnam. Sons and daughters would be taking a trip to Vietnam. I thought he was crazy. I didn't think it could happen. I wasn't sure that I would want to be there. And I am so glad that I'm here with all of you. Bill and Michelle and Global Spectrum, you've made this trip something I'll never ever forget. And I'm leaving here with an understanding and a peace that I never thought I could ever have. This has been a life-changing journey. Thank you.
Now, of course, this is not for big American size. Look at the way he does. Kind of red to go down here for a photo. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even show
Yeah. And before you landed, you didn't know that a booby trap was waiting for you down here. And it used to be traps for animals. And they well camouflage it on top. It was like grass or normal thing. So this is the real size. And later you have many more examples of the booby traps and what it was like, because we have a lot of samples over there. But this is just the real size for you to have an idea. You step on and it keeps bombing from top to tail. You beat that. And over there, the heavy ball here is for in the center of the ceiling, so that it is well connected with the trigger and the door. Once you bend the door open, then the trigger come out, and of course it will drop down like a swinging pendulum back and forth with a lot of spikes. This one is the first trap you will have to go, or you have to face once you enter the house, because this one is a double trap. If you bend the door open, this one will fall out, and then you anticipate, maybe you anticipate, otherwise the whole thing will go into your body. You may anticipate you hold this one and the lower part will go to your face. And you couldn't tell who was busy and who was. Because they work all together. Maybe in the morning that person is working for the Americans, but during nighttime they work for the VC with the guerrilla activities at nighttime. And who knows?
This is not America. Sha-la-la-la-la. Little piece of you, a little piece in me will die.
able, save for them a place inside of you. And save one backward glance when you're leaving for the places they can no longer go. But be not ashamed to say you love them, though you may or may not have always. Take what they have left and what they have taught you with their dying and keep it with your own. And in that time when men decide and feel safe to call the war insane, take one moment to embrace those gentle heroes you left behind.
Sometimes the time just slips away, and you're left with yesterday, left with the memories. I'll always think of you and smile and be happy for the time I had you with me. Though we go separate ways, I won't forget, so don't forget the memories we made. Please remember, I was there for you and you were there for me. Please remember our time together, when time was yours and mine, and we were out and free. Please remember, me. Goodbye. There's just no sadder word to say, and it's sad to walk away with just the memory